Hey guys, so it is another edition of How Did You Do That? Starring designs from String Theory Fabric Art. So today we are doing the 5x7 TARDIS shaped zip bag. Here are the things you're gonna need. The pattern, I always print out my stitch sheet. A piece of 6x8 cutaway stabilizer, medium weight, in your hoop. You will also need lobster claw or a D-ring, 3 inches of gross grain ribbon, a zipper that measures greater than 7 inches. You'll need a piece of 6x8 marine vinyl for the back of your bag. And you will need, and we're going to be winding up cutting this at 6x8 for the front, but we're going to have to divide it up. Plus, I have switched over for that funky half lining I do in bags. I've switched over from felt, which made it a little bulky, to Olifun. So once you've got all your pieces and parts and you're ready to go, you want to hoop up your stabilizer, throw it into the machine, and you want to run color stop 1, which gives you the die line for your ribbon placement. Back in a second. Okay, folks, so we just ran our die line, which is color stop 1, and the placement stitches for our ribbon. Now on this bag, we have, we can put 2 D-rings. It's the 5x7. Or we can put 1 lobster claw. For me, since I'm keeping this one, I am going to do the 1 lobster claw. And you take your 3 inches of gross grain ribbon and you fold it over like so. Then you take a couple little pieces of tape and you line up so that your ribbon is approximately 1/4 inch below your die line, and you tape it down so it doesn't move while stitching. And then I'm super paranoid about metal bits around my machine, so I always tape down my lobster claw and my ribbon so that it makes sure it stays out of the way. Now we are going to put it back in the machine and we are going to tack this down, and then I'll come back and show you how to line up your zipper. All right, so we have got our ribbon tacked down, and you'll see that we have the die line for our zipper placement. And again, on all these zip bags, you want your zipper to be about 1.5 to 2 inches wider than the opening. So now we are going to, this is going to cause us a little trouble. See how it sticks down below that die line? We're just going to trim it a little bit. There we go. And now we are going to tape our zipper in place. We want to make sure that our zipper is smack dab in the middle between those 2 die lines, so that when we do the zipper tack down step, which is next, we don't accidentally sew part of our zipper closed. So I love me some tape. We know I love me some tape. So we are going to use some tape. I'm going to make sure that my metal bits are far outside and away from everything that's going to get stitched. I'm also going to make sure that my tape isn't going to get stitched into my zipper. There we go. All right, now we're going to put it back in the machine and we're going to tack that zipper down. And then when we're done tacking down our zipper, we will come back and lay our first 2 pieces of vinyl. Back in just a minute. So we have tacked down our zipper, woohoo! And we are ready to lay in our front vinyl. Okay, so for the front vinyl, you will need 2 pieces of TARDIS blue, and I am using mirror glitter vinyl to make it all pretty. The top piece, woohoo, is going to be 5.5 by 1.5, 5.5 wide by 1.5 wide, or tall. The second piece is going to be 6 1/4 by 5.5, and you are just going to lay these in. I like to make sure that nothing is going to move, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little tape. Again, you want to make sure It'd be nice that you do not tape where your stitch path is so that you don't have to sit there and pick tape out of your stitches. But if you do, the problem can be fixed. It's no big. So there we go. What you do want to make sure though is that you have bucked this vinyl nice and tight against your zipper so that it's not all wiggly waggly and off. Now we're going to put it back in the machine and we are going to run color stop. I believe we're going to run color stop 5. I believe it's 5. All right, back in just a second. So here we are. We've tacked down nice and secure our top vinyl and our bottom vinyl. And I'm going to go ahead and pop this tape off there so that my vinyl, if it needs to stretch a little bit this way, doesn't get warped. It's now time to do the detail stitching on the TARDIS bag. And we're going to do some white, black, dark blue, and light blue. So we are going to put this back in the machine and I'm going to run color stops 6, 7, 8, and 9. I am not going to come back to you until I've gotten all 4 of those color stops. 5 with white, 6 white, 7 black, 8 true blue, and 9 baby blue until all the pretty front is done, and then I'll see you then. Okay, folks, I told you we would be back as soon as I finished up color stops 6, 7, and 8. We have finished 6, 7, and 8. Those are all of our detail stitches. We now get to make sure we trim our jumps because this is one of those dealios, spaghettios, where it's totally easier to trim your jumps while your project's still in the hoop than try to worry about it later. All right, now, remember my bags are a little bit different because I'm a little bit different. I do this kind of half lining on the inside just to cover all of the stitches. So you want a piece of Ollie Fun. Some people have been using fabric, and I guess that's fine. But you want that piece of Ollie Fun or fabric or what have you about 6.5 inches by about 5.5 inches. This one's way more bigger than that because it's the last little piece on it's the scrappy in the bucket. So we're gonna use it up. Gonna make sure that I am covering. If you're using a smaller appropriate size piece, you want to make sure that you're right with this line right here, okay? And you want to cover the entire lower, I guess it's about 3/4 of the bag. And then all we do is we pop that back into the machine and we run color stop 10 and it tacks it down. And then we'll be back to trim and start working on our zipper trick. Okay, folks, so we have attached the Ollie Fun on the back. And what you're gonna do is you're just gonna trim this off a little bit. And see, look, my best laid plans, I'm like, oh, I'll just use that scrap. And I forgot that it also puts in the cut lines on the front for the ribbon and D-ring. So I managed to sew myself down. Good job, me. Don't you want to be just... So what we're going to do is we're just going to trim that right there. We don't have to trim the sides because when we go to trim the whole bag, we'll be able to trim that too. We're going to flip it over. We're going to take our zipper and we're going to move it to about 2 fingers from the end of the bag, and we're going to tape it down. And then because I love my tape, we want to use all kinds of tape. Yay. We are going to put a little bit right here on each side of the vinyl, and we're going to run our tack line for tucking our zipper under. So just going to go boom, 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 actually boom, 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 and we'll be right back. Okay, time for our little zipper trick. So what we're going to do is we are going to peel back I say we're gonna peel back. It would help if I had fingernails. Peel back this little piece of tape right here. Yeah. And then we're going to trim just the teeth on our zipper. Don't cut your vinyl. And leave yourself some ribbon. Okay. Now we're going to cut those teeth off. And we're going to put our tape back. We're going to lift up the whole shenanigans. And we're going to put a little tear in the stabilizer. And we're going to shove our ribbon through that little tear. We're going to come over here. We're going to lift up our tape, peel it back a little bit. We're going to trim off just the teeth. Leave yourself the ribbon. Don't cut your vinyl. You're going to lift up, snip, tuck, or tape down, lift up, shove, poke. We're going to turn around. Here on the back, we're going to pull our ribbons through, left and right. Yay, we're going to cross our tails, just like this. Going to put a little piece of tape to hold them in place. Going to come over here. Get a little bit of that in the way. All right, I'm going to cross and tape. Yaha. Okay, gonna throw it back in the machine and gonna do a bean stitch to to tie that down, to hold that down. Okay, so we tacked those little areas down. It is time to do a little bit of trim work. So first we're gonna take our tape off. And again, this is where it helps to have fingernails, which I don't have. Yay. I'm also working injured today. We had a roto cutter that got really angry at me and jumped up and bit me. So we're lucky I'm not just bleeding all over the place. Okay, we're gonna flip this guy over. We're gonna trim some jumps. There we go. And we are going to cut back our tails to the stitch line. This is also a very important part. We're gonna remember to put a little tear in our stabilizer where the zipper's at so that we can open up our zipper and turn our bag when the time comes. We are going to come over here where our tack down is for our ribbon, and we're gonna trim it just a little bit. Little notch. Then we're going to lay our zipper down, or lobster claw, blah, and we're going to tape it out of place. All right, so that's taped out of place. Jumps are trimmed, zipper's moved, back half lining is on. Now we are going to take, we are going to take our back, and again, this is entirely up to you. If you want to tape it to secure it, you can, but you don't have to. I've got all these little tiny pieces of half tape laying around, so I'm gonna throw a couple on there, but I'm not like super securing it, just to keep it from sliding a little bit. Now I'm gonna put it in the machine and I'm going to run step 13 to attach the back to the whole bag. But I'm not gonna do 14 because 14 forces the needle to come up here and hold so I can get the whole bag out without ripping anything apart. Back in a second to show you trim out. Woohoo! We are all stitched together. Now for the fun part. The first thing I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna come back here and I'm going to trim all these little hairs because they're ugly and I don't like them. But we're also going to trim the stabilizer out of the zipper area. You can do this after you've unhooped the whole project. I just like doing it here because it gives me a little positive tension to work with. Okay, you also want to be very careful. Do not cut your zipper. Okay, you just spent all this time stitching this together. It would be awful to cut your zipper. Okay. Now we are going to unhoop. And at this stage, you can, if you want to do a rough trim with a roto cutter, you can. And usually on the all perfectly rectangular bags, I go ahead and do that. But this one's got so much funky going on that I'm going to use my scissors. You want to trim approximately 1/8 of an inch away to the outside of your bean stitch. And then down here, where you've got these pokey out a bit, you want to make sure that you trim on a diagonal so that when they turn inside out, right side out, those corners are nice and sharp rather than muted. Well, they're going to be muted anyway because we're talking about vinyl, but you know what I mean. Okay, now I am going to stick my fingers in here and see how much of this tape I can get out. Boom. And it looks like all of it. Excellent. I'm going to see if I can't get my zipper to open a little wider to make my life easier. And now I am going to turn my bag. Now, this is not a normal rectangle one. This has got pokey innies and pokey outies and all kinds of fun stuff. So this is going to be a little bit harder, especially since I'm working handicapped today. I only got 9 working fingers instead of 10 working fingers. So we're gonna have to do this the ugly way, a piece at a time. All right. Well, that's not right down there, but we'll fix it. Okay, twist that, turn that. Now you need some sort of jabby thing. I usually use my seam ripper because it's got this neat little feature where I can turn the seam ripping part around and it gives me a rounded, but I've lost it. So we are going to use instead today, a Sharpie marker. Not my favorite, but see, Sharpie marker. Okay, poke your corners out. That's too rounded, so end of a tweezers. You may have to, chopsticks work. Chopsticks are good. I want to make sure that I'm poking that corner all the way out. Oh, I'm starting to bleed again. Good job, me. Okay, I'm gonna take my Sharpie, get that started out there. Now it's too narrow, so I'm gonna grab my tweezers. And notice I'm using the rounded blunt end. I'm not using these because I don't want to poke all the way through my vinyl. That would also be a huge tragedy. I'm really sad that I cannot find my seam ripper. Oh, hey, the reason I can't find it is it was on the floor. Yes, there we go. So now I'm going to come down here and re-jab stuff. Then I'm going to come up here and I want to make sure that my corners are out, but also the top where the little lantern light goes. I'm going to roll my corners. And for those of you who are like, how do you get these seams to lay flat? Once I get everything rolled and kind of where I want it, stack a whole bunch of books on it and let the books sit on it for a couple of days, and that smushes it down. But there we go, guys. That is the 5x7 TARDIS shaped zip bag. And I am probably going to be poking out corners for a little bit longer because I can't get a good grip on anything with only 3 fingers. It's like lobster hands. Okay, there we go, guys. You know what? That looks kind of naked, doesn't? doesn't it? It needs something to dress it up. What can I do? Of course, this doesn't surprise or shock anybody. If you've been around longer than 5 minutes, you know I'm coming over here to pick out a dangle, to dangle off of this thing, because I'm just like that. Where are my dingle dangles? 1, 2. I think, what do you think? What's your favorite Doctor Who villain? I think that this is going to look best with a Dalek. What do you think? I think it's going to look best with a Dalek. So we're going to... There will be actually 4 different dangles available. One will come with the bag and the other 3 will be available for separate purchase. But I think, yeah, that's iconic. I think it comes with the Dalek dangle. We'll have Adipose, Weeping Angel, and Cybermen available as well. But there you go, guys. There's our TARDIS-shaped bag with our Dalek dangle. Yeah, definitely Dalek, because... Definitely, Dalek. I'm a very good driver. Definitely. Walmart sucks. Sorry, a little bit of Rain Man there. All right, guys, I got to get out of here. I'm going crazy. Talk to you later. Bye.